This is the most unconstitutional, undemocratic, unfair scheme that destroys the very basic structure of our constitution, free and fair election. Empower that party through capital to influence everything.
Honorable Finance Minister is also saying that we have started a process, may not be a foolproof process. Some element of transparency would be introduced in as much as all donors declare in their account the amount of bonds that they have purchased and all parties declare the quantum of bonds. How much each donor has distributed to a political party would be known only to the donor. This is necessary because once this disclosure is made, past experience has shown donors would not find the scheme attractive and would go back to less desirable option of donating by cash. Look, this is the experience, the view of the lawmakers. That if this confidentiality is not ensured, people go to the earlier regime. In fact, the choice has now to be consciously made between the existing system of substantial cash donations, which involves total unclean money and is non-transparent, and the new scheme which gives the option to the donors to donate through entirely a transparent method of check, online transaction, or through electoral bonds. But it is, if I want to disclose my identity, I can pay by check. It's not taken away. I don't have to go through this electoral bond scheme. I can still pay by RTGS, direct banking transfer, or through check. But then my identity would be disclosed. If I wish that to remain confidential, then electoral bond. But I have very seriously, and I am bound to, considered the concerns which your lordships have shown as custodian of fundamental rights of the citizens. And the government is proud about it, that your lordships are concerned. And we have I have some solutions to offer so that that concern also can be addressed. And your lordships would find the bona fides of the government that we really do not want to know who has donated whom what amount. Let the confidentiality remain complete except under the court order. I'll say, as and when that a part of the scheme comes.
But that, Mr. Solicitor, you know anyway who has donated what amount. The moment an electoral bond is tendered to a political party by a constituent,
the party would know.
The party knows it.
Correct, my lords. What the donor doesn't want is the other party should not know. My lord, kindly, my lord, appreciate the example which, my lord, which will be comfortable to Mr. Sibal. I'm just on the lighter side. Suppose, my lord, as a contractor, I donate to, say, Congress party. I don't want BJP to know because it might form a government in the next election.
I've forgotten I'm not in the Congress party.
You appear for a Congress person from Madhya Pradesh, and therefore I am saying.
You are appearing for a government, you are not part of that party.
Absolutely not.
So I'm also not
part. No, I am just putting myself as a contractor.
That example I thought was a bit.
Yes. My learned friend's client is a leader of a Congress party.
That's all right.
In Madhya Pradesh. Therefore, I am giving the example of Madhya Pradesh, and I am saying that a contractor wants to donate to Congress would have an apprehension that BJP might continue to be in power, or vice versa. If he gives donation to the ruling party in Madhya Pradesh, he might have a element of fear that Congress might form the government. That confidentiality the donor wants to ensure. And that is not for me to judge. That is for the lawmakers to judge. And the lawmakers felt in the parliament that this is the most incentivized way of black money generation and black money payment in the political process. That's their view.
But what about the voters' right? As Mr. Chakra has pointed out,
let me conclude.
Long years back.
My lord, that is a wider choice, my lord. That would be a separate debate. My lord, voters' right, my lord, is to know what party gets what information. I would not choose to vote for a particular party because Mr. X, the contractor, has given electoral contribution to a party. Well, that's an utopian dream. That's an idealistic dream. We have to formulate a policy based on practicalities involved. Well, otherwise, we will not be able to, my lord, your lordships have a very heavy responsibility on your lordships' shoulders. That is encouraging clean money to come into the system and discouraging those elements which compelled the people to use the black money. So, my lord, the transparency, democratic principles, right to know, etc., they are idealistic things, and I bow down to those principles. But when we formulate a policy, we must formulate a policy, my lord, which balances purity of election is supreme over right to know. Voter votes not based upon which party is funded by whom. Voter votes based upon the ideology of the party, the principles of the party, the leadership of the party, the efficiency of the party, and how, my lord, the business houses vote, whether this party's government is giving me a sufficiently good environment to secure my investment. It's not always quid pro quo. As a businessman, I would choose that this party government, whenever it is formed, there is red tapeism, there is corruption, there is interference by the ministers, there is interference by the MLAs. As against that, X party, when it forms the government, it is policy-based decisions, not individual-based decisions. My investment is secured. There is a business-friendly environment, less red tapeism, and therefore I would like this government to be formed. And that's the business interest of every business owner. I'll read further, because the Honorable Finance Minister was also very categorical that we are not coming out with a foolproof scheme. There may be some lacunas here or there, and we are ready to improve. Please see. In fact, I have read that while all the three methods involve clean money, the first two are totally transparent, and the electoral bond scheme is a substantial improvement in transparency over the present system of non-transparency. Please see, my lord, this is what, my lord, the honest government, my lord, framing a policy for the betterment of the people and in larger public interest would say, and rarely says. This is what the Honorable Finance Minister said. The government is willing to consider all suggestions to further strengthen the cleansing of political funding in India. It has to be borne in mind that impractical suggestions will not improve the cash domination system. They would only consolidate it. But the words are, if I may use the expression, prophetic. That this is substantially, we are trying to reduce the element of black money, clean money coming in the system. There may be lacunas. We are ready for suggestions. We are ready for improvement. But if the suggestions, as the Honorable Minister says, are not practical, it would defeat the object.
These electoral bonds are meant for a political party to be in power in perpetuity, because the amount of money through these means, which quote unquote are legitimate, will empower that party through capital to influence everything. This is the most unconstitutional, undemocratic, unfair scheme that destroys the very basic structure of our constitution. Free and fair elections is the basic structure of our constitution. This scheme is neither free nor is it fair. It's not free because the industrialists cannot say no. It is not fair because in that process, the political party in power gets the maximum capital, and the capital it wants, not for elections, for other purposes. That's very dangerous. Incentivizing, and I'm come to the other main argument. Incentivizing, I won't take more than a few minutes more. I don't want to trouble your lordships. Incentivizing the use of banking channels. Of course, you will get this legitimate money through banking channels. In fact, that's the perfectly rational way of enriching yourself. Perfectly rational way. But that's not a justification for empowering yourself. I can understand if there was a correlation between this and the election process, in which you must disclose how much you have spent, where you have spent. But that cannot be, because it is the candidate who is fighting the election, not the political party. As far as persecuting the person who has been given the money by that party to an opposite party, they will be persecuted. But why will they be persecuted? Well, let me tell your lordships, just to tell your lordships what the reality is. A big industrialist who has enormous power will give it to all political parties. And the party at the center will never hold it against that industrialist. Because everybody's benefited. The system enjoys this money. Enormous capital to the party that is in the center, and small little donations to the others. And everybody knows about it. It's not a secret. So there'll be no retributions that why did you give it to that party? Because you've also got the maximum. Why should there be a retribution? So this whole argument that no, there'll be a retribution, why have you given to that party? Supposing, Maharaj, I have got 100 crores. I get 100 crores, but the donation shows that he has given 500 crores. I know that 100 crores come to me, 400 crores have gone somewhere else. And if, Maharaj, for the 100 crores, the quid pro quo is 4, 5, 6 instances, Maharaj, then out of 400 crores, why should the retribution be more than just 4, 5, 6 instances? The same logic will apply. Same logic will apply. So why are you protecting those, Maharaj? And the most serious part, Maharaj, which I said earlier, that I will never be able to go to a court of law. What you're doing is giving a protection to corrupt transactions by not putting that information in the public domain, because I will never know. So, Maharaj, how do I move forward? Where do I go? I can't file an FIR because I don't know. I'll be subject to defamation. I can't go to court. I have under 156(3), I'll have to go to, I'll have to give some data. I don't have the data. So what court order are we talking about? Don't shield the process of corruption itself by allowing this to go on. If you want to deal with corruption, the first thing to do is to quash this scheme. This is the surest way for political perpetuity.
Reservation as a policy, the central government is committed to. My written submissions, my lord, are only confined to the question referred whether there can be a sub-classification or not.
Right.
And sub-classification as a concept was bothering your lordships, my lord, and there are some judgments which reflect that.